Hey everybody, it's just me. Working on some panels today. Solo right now. Walt is currently working on a snowmobile outside. Him and a buddy are going to go snowmobiling. So we'll check that out in a minute. But wanted to show you what we were up to, or what we've been up to. Walt's been working on panels on his car. Obviously you're kind of seeing that we're changing the paint scheme or the color scheme up a little bit. He's currently built all this. All this is brand new. Obviously the blue. The hood's next. New hood there, so that'll be changed. Kind of his own design in the here. Normally this is louvered, so a little different. Some guys do. So, but yeah, he's done a good job building all this stuff. So that we'll change it up. So it's kind of time consuming, but this year we have the time to do it. I'm actually working on panels, so I'm going to show you a couple little tricks that we use to build the panels, and how to simplify some things, and so that you can do it yourself. So here I've already done the sides. That's brand new. This will be replaced. Let's see. This rear tank panel, they changed the rules so we don't have as much tin work inside of here, which is nice. Makes it cheaper. It's one of the better rule changes, I think. Less half snaps, less aluminum, yada yada. So pretty good there. So I think Walt just got back. We'll go outside and see what he's doing out here. Walt, what are we doing?
Go for a snowmobile ride. Something a little different.
Yeah? Where are you headed?
Well, me and my buddy Charlie. You've obviously seen Charlie if you watch some of our older videos. He cut his hair now, so he looks better.
Wow.
Doesn't look like a bum.
Nice.
We're gonna go ride up into Springfield, Vermont. Just some side trails. We don't like to ride the main rail bed here because everybody rides the main rail bed.
Yeah. There was like, what, 60 sleds this morning up
I don't know.
It's crazy right now.
Say, there's too many damn sleds around.
Yeah, it's crazy right now because we got snow finally, and everybody's been waiting to. There are people who snowmobile here, like we race, and that's their thing, and that's cool. So they have been eagerly waiting. You can imagine as a racer, if you had to wait for the for the clay to show up or something, like they have to wait for snow to show up. Fortunately, we don't have to do that. We fight the rain a little bit, but. So right now it is super busy downtown, people unloading and riding, and the rail bed is right out here.
It's literally
I'll walk out here. Dump truck buried in the snow. This is what we got going on now here. We're in the hardcore winter. We got a cold snap coming too, where it's supposed to be below zero. Yes, I'm out here in a t-shirt right now. T-shirt and hey dudes, but the shop's nice and warm. You can see the pond over there is frozen. It's actually beautiful here, you know, but right down there in front of the house is the main, it's the old rail bed, and it's like we call it the interstate. You can pretty much go anywhere. So we literally leave here with the snowmobiles, and can ride wherever you want, Canada, or until you run out of snow. That's your choice. You can see the truck and trailer buried in the snow. We got hammered. We were supposed to get more. We had a lot of ice too. You can see this is what we're dealing with. Everything literally buried in the snow. So driveway's starting to get small. Camper. So truck. Anyway, not that all that matters. So yeah, Walt adding a little oil in the old Polaris.
About a quart low.
Yep.
See, we're not as good with these because I haven't ridden this one in what, 2 years?
This will be the, well, yeah, you've ridden it around a little bit, but haven't trail rode it. So this will be its maiden voyage.
Yeah,
today.
2 years. You know, needs a seat cover.
Yeah,
you know, but that. We like Dad and I were talking. Some guys snowmobile like we race, and we race hard and spend a ton of money. And Heather's dad gave us this snowmobile, so
yeah,
price was right. You know, it's cost me $23 so far. That was for the two plugs and the oil.
It's a good sled. And you still see a lot of this vintage or this era snowmobile out and about. You know, they're the guys that are super into it, and that's cool. They got some nice stuff, but you midweek you see it up here. They're riding.
Yeah.
And the further north you go, they really hammer it.
Yeah.
So the groomers will be out tonight grooming. It's starting to snow now. I don't know if we're supposed to get a little bit of snow today or not.
I don't think so. The thing that people forget is we're like 2.5 hours from Canada.
Yeah.
You know, honestly.
Which is not far.
Yeah, it's not far. I mean, we go 3 hours to race. You can literally drive to a different country 2.5 hours away, probably 2 hours in some spots. So that makes it, you know, snowmobiling's big up there, but we choose to have a little bit cheaper sled, and we don't do 100 on them. I'm not looking to race them. I do that strapped in. So we just go for a nice trail ride, enjoy the scenery out in the woods and stuff. So
yeah.
But as you can see inside, we've been doing some work too.
Yeah, I was showing them that.
It's a hell of a lot warmer in there.
Yeah. So I'm going back inside because I'm getting cold.
I don't blame you. I'll be back in here shortly after I'm done dumping oil everywhere.
So yeah, nice and warm in here, about 70. So anyway, yeah, this is what we've been working on. So follow along. I'll show you a couple different things. Building this nose piece, how to simplify things, and we'll go from there. So, like I said, oh, Jenny's barking. Show you a couple things about making panels. You ever look at a panel and go, "Oh my God, how did they make that?" Well, the guys that do it all the time are really good, and sometimes you just have to simplify things. So I chose this panel here, which is it's a nose panel or wing, whatever you want to call it. It goes on the car like so. You can see it's part of the nose, or you can see a finished one over here on Walt's car. So looks like a pretty intricate piece, and it is when it's all flattened out and making all the bends. You got a 90 here, 90 there. So one of the things you can do to simplify something is look at it and say, well, do I have to make it in one piece? No, you don't. So if you don't have a big enough break, or you don't know, one of the things we do with these to make them a little more replaceable is to make them in 2 pieces. It's less work twisting and jamming everything. So what we do is right here, you can see on this one I already marked a line crossed here. So what I did is I made a lip. So I cut it off, and when I cut it off, it will end up looking like this one. Okay, that's the other side. So now we have it. As you guys can see, there's a lip there, and what I'll do is I'll build this wing piece. Okay, put the bead roll and everything in it, and then I have the outer piece. This is the piece that I cut off here. So we'll take that, and I'll build one with a little bit longer of a lip that goes onto here. Okay, it'll sit right down on there, and this will all get bent, and it'll become 2 pieces, and this just gets riveted on so you can actually take it off. So if you damage one or the other, you can do that. So one little trick to how that's done is to just simplify things when you look at them. It could be any panel you could look at. You know, in some it's not possible to do, and you have to build them in 1 piece. And then there are others that you can. These nose panels, you can do them in 2 pieces. You can do them in 1 if you want. I've done them both ways, but now when we build them in-house now, we kind of do it in 2, because if for some reason the upper piece gets bent, you don't have to replace the whole thing. You can just make that one small panel, and lots of time there are pieces of aluminum around that are just big enough, like this one here that I got on the table. You can see is not that big, but when I stand it up here, so you can see it. Hold on a second. Apologize for the camera. I'm the only one here. Walt's gone snowmobiling, so you can kind of see I've taken and traced out this other panel. And so what we do, again, I'll show you. I got too much stuff on the bench. Okay, is basically I take and flatten out where it's a 90. This was a bend. This here was a bend. I take and bend those out, flatten them out. And you can see on here, one of the little tricks is I know that when I cut that, I stole 1 inch off this. So I'll put a little +1 on both sides. So that tells me that I want to add 1 inch to this panel. So essentially I take it, I'll put it on here. We have all these little handy dandy clamps, like so. I'll take and clamp that bad boy right there, and even. And then I lay it down. And sometimes I'll use more than 1 clamp, and I'll flatten everything out, and I lay it down, and I mark all the holes. Pretty simple stuff. and then I have that pattern. Once you have the pattern, cut it out. You always want to, if you have to bead roll, you want to bead roll before you make any bends. That way, and sometimes I'll leave a little extra material and then cut that away after I'm done bead rolling. Like Walt did over here on his snows. You can see this bead roll piece here, and that's just a stiffener. It just stiffens that up. And like I said, you can see how I did the two-piece as he's done here. This is the plastic that protects the colored aluminum, and it looks nice and neat. That way this piece comes off if you want to, and you can change it. So just a little trick there to doing, you know, metal work, stuff like that. Obviously lots of people don't have the tools to do it. We're fortunate. We have metal brake, we have bead roller, which is this here. I don't know, puts all kinds of fancy bumps in here. This here, you squeeze this lever and it adjusts this down, and then this turns and it puts whatever you want in there. Like this here is a nice radius. We have some other ones. It's a what we call a step, and then we have a smaller bead. There's all kinds of different pieces you can get to go on this machine and make you know, different things in your metal. I've had that for a while. We even have a guide that goes in it so you can go straight for doing like the chutes and stuff. And then upstairs we do have shrinker stretcher, and then we have a louver press that I actually built. It looks like some kind of a monster, but I built it out of just junk that I had. So, you know, anyway, follow along. You can watch how I cut these out. I prefer, you can use the electric shears, which is here. They work good if you want to do some metal work. These are a cheap pair. They work pretty good. I have an air set of these as well that I have acquired, and we've used the air. But lots of times the stuff like this, it's got a lot of crowns to it. I use a jigsaw with like a metal blade, and if you hold your aluminum nice and tight, you can get nice cuts and make nice round pieces, and you can do that. I know some of the guys that build panels will use actually a router. They have a you know, will set down and router out more than one. I've seen that done. You make a plywood template, clamp them down, take a router and do that if you're doing a bunch. A lot of them now are water jet cut, stuff like that. So, you know, like Bicknell or Tio or whoever, I know DKM, those guys out there do a great job with bodies. They build a lot of stuff that way. This winter we're building some pieces just because we had the time and kind of enjoy doing it. Lots of times during the season it's just as easy to buy the pieces. We don't have the time to mess around with it, so we just buy them, and we probably still will buy our other, you know, the main panels from you know, a dealer, and then we kind of tweak them a little bit, like the deck lids we massage to what we want, and you know, some stuff in the front, but pretty much straightforward. So anyway, I'll set the camera down and we can follow along and see how this goes. piece cut out. Doesn't look like much right now, but eventually it'll become one of the side pieces to the nose. As you can see, the two different panels or whatever. This is one, the original. This is the new one, and we'll bend it up, get the holes punched in it. Some guys, you also can cut this stuff if you have a jump shear that comes down and it basically shears the stuff. You see me cut some of the smaller stuff. I'll use the tin snips. I like to round the corners so that nobody's getting stabbed, and then sometimes clean up a couple of spots if it's easier than wrestling around with this. The key to this is, one, a sharp blade, two, holding it tight and having a good solid surface like I have here. So, like I was saying, the wing part here I've cut out, you can see, and I've got it all cut out and laid out. I know it's hard to see. So this will become these two. This is the old one, the new one. This line here, what I've done is, you can see that's where the bead roll is going to go. So you can mark the center of your bead roll and follow that, or you can mark the edge depending on which you want. And then this is like a start and a stop point for that. And then what I've done is I've marked the bends. You can even write on these like, okay, this is going to be a 90, like this one here will be a 90, this is going to be a crimp. So sometimes I'll make a little curly mark on those so that if you're doing different panels for different people. So Walt's back from snowmobiling.
Yep.
Yes, this is all in the same day. You just went for a little cruise.
Yeah.
Everything went well?
Yeah, trails are getting pretty rough. All the out-of-towners and wore them out. And it's warm. So really, if you're a snowmobiler, we need another good foot of snow and a lot of cold days.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of water bars and exposed mud.
Yeah.
Once you got kind of up in the mountain, you know, if you go up where we live, if you go up into the mountain there, up into Grafton and through Springfield, it wasn't too bad. But they get ridden hard when there's snow. So, but overall, it's a pretty good ride.
Nice.
So I think we did 40 miles, so, which is plenty for me.
It's a little short jaunt.
Yeah, so that's plenty for me. So yeah, so I'd rather be in here, honestly, in the warmth, getting some panels built. So I think Dad's been giving you a tutorial on how to build some wing panels there in the front
Yeah.
of the nose.
Yeah, I got this one bead rolled and bent. Bead rolled it. You can't really see on camera, but I chose to use a little bit deeper bead roll, honestly, just because it was, the bead roller was already set up for it. So I did that. Bent the 90. I just got to bend the end here down, and we'll basically have the same panel as here, minus the dents, scrapes, and most of what these get is sometimes, you know, they get hit with a wheel or something, but this actually didn't. Most all of this is from just mud, dirt, rocks hitting the sides of them and stuff, and it dents them up pretty good. So, you know, sometimes you can reuse them. I've reused them before, but we had the time, so I decided, you know what, I'll build a new one, little project. And Walt's working on a new hood over here, because he's changing his colors.
Yeah, we're going from orange to blue.
Which mark are we on here?
That one.
The second one.
I think. Was there two?
There's two. Oh, that
yeah,
other one's
the
way out,
half-inch
so.
one there.
Always make sure, it's better to check and make sure you're on the right mark, because if not, once you bend it, you kind of own it.
Good there?
So, yeah, I'm good.
I'm not.
You're not. So up we'll go with that. Put a 90 on that. It's amazing when you do that how strong it makes things. So
yeah, makes it pretty rigid. So now we can kind of figure out what we got to do to put the new scoop on.
So when you set the new scoop on, you guys can see, I mean, he's got to cut this to length, but put the new hood scoop on, all get cut out. Looking pretty snazzy.
Boom.
All built in-house.
Yep.
So again, just another thing that we wanted to show you guys.
Yeah.
You might already know how to do it. If you do, that's awesome. If you don't, hopefully we showed you something. And if you have questions, certainly ask us.
Yeah.
We're not experts, but we know enough to be dangerous and help you get the job done. So don't be afraid to ask. If you're wondering how to do it or what we did, or like I said, hopefully something that we showed you was a little trick or something like that to help you out. And we'll keep showing you some more stuff as we go. We start closing in. If you're new to the channel, hang in there. Thank you. Keep watching. We love questions. It helps us add content and answer those questions. So please like, subscribe, you know, send a message, Facebook, whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll see you on the next round.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Yep.